How to get a girlfriend. Now, you might look at the day this was posted and automatically think that this is a joke video, but honestly, that's not my intention at all. The fact of the matter is, there are a lot of gamers out there who are genuinely looking for companionship who just don't know what they're doing wrong. When it comes down to it, this is a social skill that isn't taught in schools, and in our current day and age, the dating game isn't what it was when our parents first met. My goal is to help out anyone who has a crush on a girl or is just looking to know what to do when you find someone you like. Whatever your situation is, I'm looking to help however I can. So before I go into anything you need to do, let me start with a story that happened to a friend of mine. The other day, she went shopping at night. When she walked out of the store, this guy walked out of the shadows and approached her saying, "Excuse me, miss, I just wanted to let you know that you're beautiful, and sorry if I'm coming off strong, but do you have a boyfriend?" Now, just imagine that situation. It's already dark out, and this guy who she's never seen before approaches her out of nowhere. How do you think she felt at that moment? As we saw, he wasn't dangerous at all. He just saw a girl he thought was pretty, struck up a conversation, called her beautiful, and asked if she had a boyfriend. What's wrong with that? Well, it all comes down to one thing. Here's probably the most important skill that you need to have when you're trying to get a girlfriend. If you don't take away anything else from this video, I just want you to work on this one specific skill: empathy. For those of you who don't know, empathy is being able to put yourself in another person's shoes. Whenever you talk to a girl, you should always think, before I say this thing, how will she take it? How will it be perceived? I know that none of you can read minds, and trust me, when it comes to women, who knows what they're thinking? But you need to at least be able to pull yourself out of your own head for a minute and think, if I were on the other side, what would be going through my mind? Personally, if some stranger approached me out of the darkness, I'd think I was about to die. And some people genuinely don't realize that their intentions, however good they might be, might get misinterpreted. Now, let's look back at that example and see what he did wrong. Number 1, he didn't realize that he was probably scaring the crap out of someone. Number 2, he didn't understand the concept of timing. Now, this may surprise you, but a Smith's parking lot isn't the best place to pick up girls. Yeah, that's where your grandpa met your grandma, but that was back when you could hold out your thumb and trust some stranger to drive you home. So, if you can't just randomly walk up to girls and tell them that they're pretty and that they should go out with you, what are you supposed to do? How do you get a knack for this timing thing? Let me now go into some pretty bad relationship advice that I hear all the time. Love comes to you when you aren't looking for it. Now, while that may have its flaws though, there is some truth to it. The key takeaway is that you should be able to meet this person in a way that feels natural. At school, at church, at a convention, at a party. Basically, it's better to meet a girl in a place where it's normal to meet and socialize with people you don't know, not when she's filing her taxes or picking up baking soda. If she feels comfortable meeting you, she'll feel more comfortable getting to know you. Now, this may seem completely obvious, but I'm going to say this anyway. The feelings of the girl you like are most important when it comes to a relationship. Simple, right? Who in their right mind wouldn't realize that? Unfortunately, a lot of people with good intentions. Let's take someone like Disney's Gaston, for example. Logically, in his mind, he was a great choice for Belle. He was the most talented, handsome, and respected guy in all of wherever that French place was called. Even Belle's own father thought that he would be a great choice for her. But he didn't make Belle feel happy. Let's say that he wasn't rude and conceited. Would that have been enough? For most women in that town, yeah. But every girl is different. Okay, back to reality. You're not a Disney character, and you're hopefully not French. What am I getting at here? My point is that even if you're smart, loyal, caring, and plenty of other adjectives that women seem to care about, they all mean nothing unless this girl feels better when she's around you. She won't even get the chance to know that all those traits apply to you unless she feels inclined to get to know you on a deeper level. Don't say to yourself, logically, I'm exactly what she's looking for. Screw your logic! How does she feel when she's around you? Probably the most important lesson in sales is that people buy with their emotions and justify it with logic. And when you're trying to get a girlfriend, you're constantly trying to sell them on why you're the best fit for them. And probably trying to prove why you're better than the competition. Sure, if someone asks a girl why she likes a guy, she might respond with some reasons why she logically likes the guy, But it all comes back down to how she feels. Okay, I think I've beaten this horse to death. So how do you make a girl feel like getting to know you on a deeper, more personal level? Let me just get the harshest reality out of the way first. If you're more attractive, a girl is going to feel more comfortable around you. That's just how it is. Remember those 3 groupies in Beauty and the Beast? They didn't care that Gaston was a douche. He was hot. And quite frankly, there are lots of women out there who are thinking the exact same thing. There are 2 things to remember though. First of all, like Belle, there are girls out there who don't just care about looks. And second, there are things that you can do to make yourself more attractive. Things that don't require plastic surgery. First of all, make sure you do the obvious things like maintain proper hygiene such as bathing and brushing your teeth. Yes, and flossing. Girls may or may not care about that last part. That's just me telling you to do it regardless. You also need to make sure that you're grooming properly. You're allowed to have a beard, but if you literally just Google hot guy, the beards don't get any thicker than this. Again, every girl is different, but that's just something to keep in mind. You may need to get a haircut as well. Just take a look at different hairstyles for men and see which style you think would look best on you. Next, it's time to update your wardrobe. Make sure that you don't have any baggy or dirty clothing. Gym shorts are nice for the gym, but that's the only place you should wear them. Also, if you own any cargo shorts, set them on fire. I don't care if the girl doesn't mind if you wear them. I mind. Now it's time for the hardest yet most important part of the whole process, and that's working on your body. You should be exercising and taking care of your body regardless, not necessarily to look better, but mostly just to have a healthy, happy lifestyle. I talk more about it in my video on how to be happy, which was released exactly 1 year ago today, so I think you should probably watch that video too. These videos aren't monetized, by the way. I'm genuinely just making them to improve the quality of your life and help you live with a higher baseline of happiness. Anyway, back to fitness. The sad thing is, the part about guys that women love the most is also the hardest thing for men to develop. A six-pack. A six-pack is mostly dependent on your body fat percentage, which means that you need to be exercising your whole body and not just your abs. If you were planning on skipping leg day, you may need to think twice about that one. You'll also need to be maintaining a diet that cuts more calories than you consume. How you look is 80% diet and 20% exercise. And since change needs to happen gradually, you're in this one for the long haul. You can't just go on a diet where you cut out half of what you eat. You need to gradually introduce good foods into your diet while steadily removing the junk. I can tell that just listening to all of this might be overwhelming. After all, I'm telling you to change the way you dress, the length of your hair, what you eat, and how much you should exercise. It would honestly surprise me if you weren't overwhelmed by all this. Here's something to remember though. Girls have this kind of pressure too. You think the girls just roll out of bed and look pretty? I mean, I'm sure the girl you like looks pretty all the time, but lots of girls are constantly worrying about how much they eat, how much they weigh, what they wear, and spending precious time every single morning making sure that their hair and makeup looks presentable. And that's not including the financial commitment for all of their cosmetics and hair products. If you find yourself worrying about things that are out of your control like your height, girls often worry about similar things such as their chest size. Look, you don't need to make all of these changes right now, and unless you're super motivated, I would recommend that you don't make all of these changes right now. I just want to see you making gradual steps forward, little by little, one step at a time. Maybe just notice if you see yourself reaching for some unhealthy food and replace it with a healthy alternative. Maybe instead of going to the gym twice a week, you just start with a light jog up and down the street. Even if it doesn't translate into you getting a girlfriend, I want to see you making positive changes in your life. It's amazing what you can accomplish in a year if you just start. Now, if you're still worried about the way you look, I want to point out a guy named Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the quarterback for the 49ers, and would you just look at that guy's jawline? He's basically what every girl dreams of. But does that mean that every girl is going to reject any guy that isn't at least as attractive as he is? No. Similarly, if you're anything like me, you want a girl who looks like this. Are you going to outright reject any girl who's not as beautiful? Hopefully not, because then there wouldn't be any girls left. Look, some girls have terrifyingly high standards, but you can't let that bother you. There are things that are just outside of your control, and someone else's standards is one of them. Instead, focus that energy on improving yourself. It's way more productive and will make you happier in the long run, and eventually, there will be a girl who would rather be with you than any supermodel quarterback. Okay, let's forget about your looks for a second and focus on your personality. Even if you get a girl to talk to you, she won't stay very long if you can't hold the conversation. But Red, I'm an introvert. Then you'd better get ready to practice. If you're really bad at socializing, just realize that this is a skill, and the more you work on it, the better you'll get. Some pointers for starting up a conversation are asking a girl about herself and trying to find ways how the two of you are similar. If you have friends, you've probably realized by now that something that strengthens your bond is how similar you are, and the more you have in common, the stronger your bond will become. In theory, anyway. She may or may not be interested in video games, but what else does she like? What kind of music does she listen to? What hobbies does she have? What are her goals? Of course, you don't want to ask her any heavy questions when you're first getting to know her, but you should gently ease her into helping you learn what kind of person she is. Now that that's out of the way, there's one more thing that I think you should keep in mind. Remember how I said that practicing empathy was the most important thing to work on? Well, this is easily the second most important part. If you ask a million bajillion girls in the world what they like to see in a guy, this answer will come up probably 98% of the time. And that answer is confidence. I remember the first time a girl told me that, and I was all like, okay, confidence in what? Confidence in yourself. That totally clears up everything, right? Maybe? Probably not? Okay, let me explain. Having confidence means being able to look at yourself in a mirror and be happy with the person that you are. It means understanding that you have faults and weaknesses, but those weaknesses are just part of being human, not something that defines you. Being confident is the opposite of being anxious or embarrassed. Remember that scene in Mean Girls where Regina George put on a tank top just to see that someone cut holes out in her chest? You know what she did? She shrugged her shoulders and freaking walked away. That's the kind of confidence that I want you to have. Oh, someone says that your Mermaid Man persona is cringe? They're cringe. Someone tells you that you accidentally came to school with your underpants over your jeans? Make a joke about it, go into the bathroom to fix it, and then walk out with a smile on your face like it never happened. You know what someone without confidence would do if they found out that they did something embarrassing like that? They would hide. They would dwell on it. They might even believe that it happened because they're defective or just not as good as other people. Here, let me tell you another quick story. In my first semester of college, I traveled to a different state that was way colder than where I was originally from. I didn't know anything about living in the cold, and quite frankly, neither did my parents. So they shipped me off with the same outfit that Randy wore in A Christmas Story. Think that's embarrassing? Oh, we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. So, as I'm walking along campus, I get to this really big staircase that goes down to where I need to go. Then, after taking one step, I immediately slip on some ice and begin sliding down the entire staircase like a freaking torpedo. That fall lasted a good 15 to 20 seconds. And when I got to the bottom, some people were laughing while others were asking if I was okay. At this point, I had two ways of reacting. I could have mumbled, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then raced home hoping that no one would see me. Or I could have said, "Yeah, I saw a cute girl and wanted to slide into her DMs." Actually, both are probably equally as embarrassing now that I think about it, but the main difference is that in one situation, I let it get me down, whereas in the other situation, I laugh it off and continue my day as usual. So, what does this have to do with you getting a girlfriend? Well, in order to make a girl happy, you first need to be able to make yourself happy. If you think that you'll change when you get a girlfriend and that a switch will flip in your mind that somehow makes both her and yourself happy, that's not how humans work. Eventually, you'll creep back into your old self-hating mentality, and you'll end up dragging her down with you until she finally decides to get rid of you altogether. Emotions are contagious, and girls know that. They'd much rather be around happy guys, because they know that by being around you, they'll be happy too. If you need to know what you need to work on to be happy, well, what a coincidence. I just happen to have a video about that in the description below. Okay, I'm done chilling out my video on how to be happy now. This is probably a lot to take in, and for good reason. Girls are a species that deserve their own week on the Discovery Channel. They're some of the most complicated, high-maintenance creatures on the planet. And you want to find one to take away what little free time you have? Honestly, I hope the best for you. If there's a girl you have your eye on, make sure you do whatever it takes to make her happy. She deserves it, and so do you. So, what do you think? Has this video helped you understand the psychology of dating? Are there any more tips you'd like to share? Leave a comment to let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.